How are you going to hold yourself accountable if you don't have those measurables? It's the same thing with everything else. In light of those lofty goals, okay, there's one thing I need to remind you, and not to be a party pooper, I want to be a realist. There's one thing that must occur, regardless of whatever goals or how serious you are about them, regardless of whatever you wrote down or want to write down. There's one thing you have to remember. And that one thing is you must be willing to do the boring shit. Could have quit anytime. Could have said, fuck this, I'm out of here anytime. But I didn't. Because why? I knew there was a bigger goal. I knew that's what it takes to be successful. This contract was at that time several millions of dollars. So what else am I going to do? Millions of dollars to the family business, not to me. What else am I going to do? You got to do it. But here's a way to get through the boringness. Understand that each time you go through that cycle, you're stacking wins. Little itty bitty wins along the way. Little bitty wins along the way. Until at the end of the year, you look back and you're like, damn, I accomplished a lot of shit this year. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the End-to-End Podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Yun Win, known also as the Ninja, Prolific Ninja by my family and friends, and because my fans and my friends, you can call me Ninja too. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the Alpha to the Omega, the beginning to the end, talking about life, motivation, drive, success, self-improvement, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life, and connecting the dots that are all around us to help you on your path to success. Back in the studio, it's cold as F in Houston. I'm across the country. If you're caught in this Arctic blast, hope you're safe. Hope everybody is staying warm. So glad to be back in the studios despite all of that to bring you another episode. Before I get into the show, I want to start off the episode as I start my days. And if you're new to the show, just getting introduced to the show, every morning when I wake up, I'm going to open my eyes. I thank God and the universe for another day, another opportunity to be great. And with that, I want to thank you all for another opportunity to bring this message to you, and for you all for sharing this message through the world. Our mission statement, if you're new to the show, is to inspire billions of lives across this planet to live to their fullest controllable potential. There are a lot of things that are outside of our control, but we want everybody to realize and actualize their fullest potential. And so that's our mission, and we can't do that without you. So the way we do this is on a karmic balance. Okay, I believe in karma a whole lot. And so if I'm giving this free to you, which it is, then I don't want you to owe me that debt back. So how you repay me is you share the show. And I like to say, if you're knowledge swole, share the show. That's how we grow. In other words, if you learn something from this episode or in any other episode, share the show and we'll restore that karmic balance. Alternatively, you can also support any one of my companies. If you don't know me, or if you're new to me, I'm a doctor, also a lawyer, business guy, have a law firm over the last 20 plus years that we've helped thousands of people recover millions of dollars in settlements. With that, also have a technology company in healthcare called CureConnector.com. Go visit that. And then also we launched a legal-based crypto utility token called LegacyXToken.com. Go visit that, learn some more, share that information, and restore that karmic balance. So let's get into the show. It is the start of the new year still, second week of January. People are still riding that high, that whole new year, new me baloney that we talked about last episode, which I really don't believe in. But I'm different from most people. So everybody out there still riding that high, still energized, still got lofty goals. Hopefully, the true measure if you really want your goals is actually, have you written them down yet? Okay. Have you written down your goals yet? And then secondly is, how high are you aiming relative to your goals? Okay. How do you measure at the end of the year that I hit my goals? Is it detailed enough to where you can really evaluate your progress over the year? Is it I want to be rich, or is it I want to make $10 million, or is it I want to make $1 million, or is it I want to make 100,000? What is that number if it's a numeric goal? Or I want to get in shape this year. Well, what does that actually mean? Body fat percentage, muscle mass, weight loss, weight gain, maybe a performance metric, run a mile in under 5 minutes. What is the metric for you? Okay, that's how you know if you're serious about your goals or not. Okay, I want to buy a bigger house. Okay, where? How big? What style? Ranch? Mediterranean? What type of roof? How many bedrooms? How many baths? How big of a garage? Oh, I want to drive a sports car this year, supercar. Okay, which one? Which brand? What color? That's how you know if you're serious about your goals or not. Is how detailed you want to put it in your brain. Because again, at the end of the year, how are you going to measure yourself? How are you going to hold yourself accountable if you don't have those measurables? It's the same thing with everything else, okay? But in light of those lofty goals, okay, there's one thing I need to remind you. There's one thing I need to ground you on. And not to be a party pooper, I want to be a realist. There's one thing that must occur, regardless of whatever goals or how serious you are about them, regardless of whatever you wrote down or want to write down. There's one thing you have to remember. And that one thing is you must be willing to do the boring shit. You must be willing to do the boring shit. And why do I remind you, or why do I make that statement now, the second week or third week of January? Because everybody jumps in with these lofty goals. And then the wall will hit where it's just freaking boring. Repetitive. The tasks you need to perform to get to your lofty goals, whatever it is, gets repetitive, boring, just melancholic. It's very hard. And what happens? That's where most people quit. And they never get back on track. They lose all this momentum or motivation, whatever it is, that has been captured in this first few weeks, and they stop. Just look at the gym. If you go to the gym, if you work out, you'd understand that everybody comes in, new year, new me. I want to get in shape this year. I want to make it happen. Maybe they're there for 1 day, 3 days, a week, and then they realize that they haven't seen any results yet because fitness is a long-term result game. And they're in, and they're out, and they're in, and they're out, and it's rep after rep after rep after minute on the treadmill, minute on the stairmat. It's minute after minute, same thing, day in, day out, day in, day out. And then by the third week, right about now, what happens? They quit. They quit. Because A, they don't see any immediate results, and B, it's kind of boring. I've been working out since I was 16 years old. What is that? I don't know, 30 plus years. Same bench press, same weight. Same squat rack, same weight. Same deadlift, same weight. You know, I'm not going to be Mr. Olympia, so I don't go crazy on the weights, but it's about the same weight. You know, I'm in a range of 10, 15% every time I do the same exercise. It's boring as fuck, but I still do it anyways. And I'm in great shape. But that's the way it is. You have to be willing to do the boring shit. Why? Because not that you enjoy it. It's because you want to last longer than everyone else. You want to stay in the game longer than anyone else, because that ensures what? Your success. That ensures your success. I go back to when I was little, and my family my parents started a printing company, okay? Borrowed some money early. They're talking about in the 80s. And in the first several years, blew up. Millions of dollars, 30, 40, 50 employees, big print facility, just went gangbusters. And I worked as a not a toddler, what do you call it? As a kid, as a young boy. You know, I started working there when I was, I want to say 5, 6 years old, and got more responsibilities on the way up. Okay? Not like child labor law kind of violations, but that was part of the deal. We were a refugee immigrant family. Everybody pitches in. At one point in time, they won the contract to print out bus routes. Okay, back then there was no internet, no cell phones, none of that. So if you rode the bus, you actually got these pamphlets brochures that you unfolded. They were big because it had all the bus routes across the city of Houston, the times, the different routes, different colors, and they were folded up so that you could fit it in your pocket. Well, they got the contract to print those, okay? So the way the process is they printed on a massive piece of equipment. Imagine like, I don't know, half the size of an 18-wheeler. Big old printing press on these massive sheets of paper. And then those sheets of paper get cut down to be like the size of, let's say, a poster board. And there was this massive folding machine that would fold that poster board size paper into the little pamphlet that you could shove in your pocket. And people riding the bus, you would pick these up all across the city at grocery stores or whatever and have the bus routes. Okay, we would print millions of those on a yearly basis. Okay, so why does that matter? So my job at one point in time was to sit at the end of that big-ass folding machine as it comes out. So it folds one by one. Pop, 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 pop. It was just, I can hear it in my head when I sleep. It's brah, 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 brah. The machine is folding this massive poster board into a booklet. And it would come out on a conveyor belt, one at a time, but like stacked on top of each other. And my job all day long, was to gather a handful, put a rubber band around them, and put them in a box for hours on end. Hours. For days on end. For weeks on end. For months on end. For years on end. That was my job. It's almost like an assembly line, but not quite. So, it'd come out of the machine, I'd gather them up, rubber band them, put them in a box. The next set, gather them up, rubber band, and put in a box. Over and over. I'd just have my headset on, Sony Walkman. For those of you out there, remember those? Sony Walkman on, headset on, blaring heavy metal music for hours. Could have quit anytime. Could have said, fuck this, I'm out of here, anytime. But I didn't. Because why? I knew there was a bigger goal. I knew that's what it takes to be successful. This contract was at that time several millions of dollars. So what else am I going to do? Millions of dollars to the family business, not to me. What else am I going to do? You got to do it. Now, of course, had I quit, my parents would have had to hire somebody and put somebody in there and, an expense to the business, and therefore that money couldn't be invested somewhere else, and that, that chain flows downhill. Okay? But the fact that I was doing it, they didn't have to pay anybody. I got a small, wage, so to speak. But it was day in, day out. 7 a.m. on Saturday to 7 p.m. 7 a.m. on Sunday to 7 p.m. After school till 7, 8 p.m. Just like that. And so why do I tell you this? I tell you this because I'm grateful, because that has taught me the discipline of what it takes to be successful to this current date, being able to do the boring ass shit. Okay? But I tell you this is because that is exactly what it takes. It is a reminder at the start of this year, when everybody's still on the new me, new year hype, that you got to be willing to last through the boring shit in order to be successful. Even in my law practice, even in every single case, I got to do the same process, and my team has to do the same process over and over and over and over again. It's like the 80-20 rule. 80% of the same, it's all the same. 20% is a little different on a case by case. But that 80%, it's not boring. You could qualify it as boring. But it is monotonous. It is repetitive. It is not brainless, but it is, you're on that rinse, wash, and repeat cycle. But here's a way to get through the boringness. Understand that each time you go through that cycle, you're stacking. You're stacking wins. Little itty bitty wins along the way. Little bitty wins along the way. Until at the end of the year, you look back and you're like, damn, I accomplished a lot of shit this year. I'm going to give myself a 10 out of 10. because whatever my goal was at January of 2025, I exceeded them December 31st, 2025. Okay? Just a little reminder to keep one foot in reality. You must be willing to do the boring shit. All right, here we are. Everybody out there in this Arctic blast, stay warm, stay safe. If you don't got to be on the roads, obviously as a personal injury lawyer, don't be on the roads, okay? Support our projects. Go to, the big project. We are working on the next environmental toxic litigation of the century, and that's called PFAS, P-F-A-S, the forever chemical. It's contaminated our waters. We're drinking it. Doubles our risks of cancer. Over 99% of Americans have it in our blood already. It is the next environmental toxic litigation of the century. So for anyone out there that has been affected by cancer personally or in your family, please do reach out to us at PFAS Lawyer on X or PFASinjuryattorney.com. There's no cost to give us a call and let us investigate your claim. We are trying to help as many of the millions of people with cancer as possible pursue potential settlements against companies that use PFAS. I caution you, if you Google PFAS, P-F-A-S, it is a rabbit hole, and you will be freaked out by what you see. But in any case, support our show by sending them to us. Go to westlooplaw.com, that's my law firm, curaconnector.com, or legacyxtoken.com. Learn more about it, share everything. If you learned something from this episode, please do share the show. If you're knowledgeable, share the show. That is how we grow. Don't leave me with that karmic debt. Balance it out, please. And so with that, I want to close the show as I close my day. Before I close my eyes and put my phone down and go to bed, I thank God and the universe and my prayers and my thoughts and my soul for another opportunity to have been hopefully great and inspired somebody to live, just one person, live to their fullest controllable potential. And if that's so, it has been a successful day. And so with that, I want to thank you all for listening, liking, commenting, following, and sharing. Our audience and our podcast nation continues to grow. So thank you all. And I look forward to bringing you another episode very, very soon.